And good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. My name's Digital Dragon, and I'm a 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch. This camera is a little bit off, yeah, a little bit better. There we go. How's everybody doing today? Let's see who all we have in here. Welcome on in, Ash, Cruising Girls, uh, John Doan, welcome in. Mr. Wizix, Chewy, thank you for the gift sub, or not gift sub, but thank you for subscribing for 20 months. How's it going? Hey, Timor, it's another Tuesday. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You left me a DM. Take a look when you can. I saw a DM from you. Let me double check. There was some issues with the form. I think they had gotten squared away, but your form, because I sent you. Yeah, well, I'll take a look at that. I know there were some issues with the forums called technical difficulties. I copied I copied all of the codes into Excel, so I had I had your all's name, your email, and then the code, so it made it easier for doing the emails. And I did not realize that Excel decided to be helpful and try and classify a 20-digit character as a different type of number and screwed everything up. So, but when I sent you yours, it should have, because I did yours directly through Discord, it should have been fine. But I'll see. One thing on yours, double check and make sure that when you're putting it in the form, it did not add a space either before or after the number. So if you can, try that while you got a chance, Timor. Um, I'm doing pretty good, other than the fact it's been cold. And by cold, I mean I think it got to 29 today, and that was at the height of the afternoons. Oh, thanks. Yeah, this box turtle shirt. Wearing the box turtle. AFM 380, how's it going? Hey, Eagle the Dragon, how are you going? Gotta make some dinner and feed the dog and pig. Sounds good. Sounds good. Hey, Shrimp Father, how's it going? Yeah, I gotta love when Microsoft helps. And then all day today, I've been fighting Office 365. I got a new work laptop, so everything migrated except for the 12 and a half terabyte, or excuse me, 12, God, 12 and a half gigabytes of emails that I've been storing on my computer that apparently they're not in a PST file, they're not in an OLM file. I tried to like migrate everything in the profile that was about 13 gig. It did nothing. So I'm in the process of slowly uploading it one folder at a time back into my inbox versus being on the computer. And I think my Outlook 365 mailbox is choking and puking on it right now. But so be it. Yeah, people. I'm not. I don't think you meant batching, but I'm pretty sure I know what you meant. Uh, a bit nuts. Yeah, 29 C is or 29 degrees Fahrenheit is a heat wave. Yeah. Yeah, it's really, it's great. The junk email folder came over, the deleted email folder came over, but the like pertinent stuff that I need to keep, it was like, yeah, no way, no way. So just pay Microsoft. Well, it's a work computer, so it's not my personal computer. It's not my business computer. This is my day job computer. And I'm like, oh, okay. Box turtle tea. There you go. Thanks, Mr. Wizix. Yeah, if you want to get your box turtle tea, please go and support the folks over there. Um, Definitely, I like these shirts were really nice too. And my wife loves the other one that I have. I think it's like a bright green one. She loves it because out at 3D Printtopia, or yeah, 3D Printtopia, she was like, "Great, I can sit up here and find you somewhere on the floor," because I stood out like a sore thumb with that. Yeah. Well, when I updated my personal laptop, right, plugged the new one in, and because we're tied into Apple, everything just on my work computer, it doesn't go because it's um we're not using Apple profiles. Well, I say Apple. We're not linking to Apple, right? So I have no like set Google profile. I have no set Apple ID. It's corporate laptop. I'm just using an Apple device. And so we're using a third party app that backs up our profile in certain parts. And it went over, but like I've had to go and install a bunch of apps that didn't get installed by default or that I had on the old one. It's typical standard stuff. Typical standard stuff. But -11 is the high tomorrow. Yeah, but you're up there in like lower Canada. 6 foot tall, and my sweater blanket goes down to my ankles. Ooh, there you go, cruising girl. That's a sweet thing to have. That's a sweet thing. So we've been working slowly on our EnderXY, and we've been working on adding this triple lead screw mod here. And we grabbed all off the well, I say off the shelf, out of bench stock parts. I still had another Creality motor here off the Ender 5 X gantry, the Ender 5 Plus X gantry. So we pulled that motor off. We added a coupler. I did get a new coupler that's the same one as these two, which is the clamp style, not the set screw and the springiness. And then we had another lead screw that we found that was the right size and so forth. So we're good there. Everything mechanically is in place. Um, we designed two different electronics pieces, one for the front that we catted up to hold the Big Tree Tech Octopus board, and one in the back that holds it's the Big Tree Tech i4. I'm calling it a sled. It's the yeah, it holds a CB1 module. You can put an actual compute module in it, so on and so forth. Right now, it's just got a CB1 installed on it. And there's going to be some changes. Like I will add a mount somewhere here for a fan that I can blow out the bottom. And my thought is when I do the deck panel for the top, that I'm going to cut out a 3mm ABS. That I'm going to do some type of ventilation. I'm just going to have an open vent style design at the top that I'll put some uh, probably some like nylon, some pantyhose or something, and put on there to prevent any filament from dropping down on top of the board, even though there won't be an actual fan here. I still don't want any filament dropping down on the board. And that way we'll have some air that'll get sucked in through the front area here and pulled down out of the back. So that will allow for some ventilation. So that's my thought process there. Now what we're going to do is I've got this selection of wires. Now, the wires that I have here, um, these are the previous wires I was using, which is a hodgepodge of stuff to include wires from the Ender 5 Plus that provided some extension wires. Then we also have, these are wires from when we did the uh, this is from the LDO Voron 2.4 kit, which is where we took the octopus from. So when we updated the LDO Voron 2.4, which was a Rev C kit, to a quasi Rev D kit, where we put a Leviathan board in and a Nighthawk stealth burner board, this is the results that came out of that. So this is kind of what we have left over that we can potentially use to uh, plug things in, make our umbilical, go from there. So we've got a set of wires here already that are coming down. I'm just not sure what all I have in here and what will fit straight out and what will need to be extended. And I do need to, I'll probably undo the umbilical just so I can dig through here, find out what's what, and try and just make it nice, I'll say again. Um, in fact, I think that's where we're going to start. So today's going to be basically a wiring stream, where we're going to go through, figure out what our wires are, make up any new wires that we need to, or extend the wires that we have, and start getting things connected into our Big Tree Tech board. And once again, my thought process here is we're going to do an umbilical. We're going to come down the side of our third lead screw here. We'll have a place where we can tie off. It'll come straight down the side. I may put some type of, I'll design some type of um, hold down point here. We'll jump down into our container. We'll come down the side, around the side, through into here, and then we'll start doing our breakout. We'll have the bed out. Everything else here is power in. Our motors will come straight over and start going into our motors here. And then the rest of it will come around and go into the front of the board. And I'm really not going to have a good view for you guys unless I'm going to move this over here, maybe angle you down. I've got the bed raised up as much as possible. But yeah, my plan is to come basically right down here, loop into the case, come around, down this way, straight out here. Our motors will come across. Our bed out will go here, and then we'll come down and into this range. I may look at doing some troughing right here, some wire wire trough. Let me see, is this, sounds like DIN rail. I've got various wire troughing and stuff. That's not DIN rail, that's actually 2020. That was 2020. I know I've got DIN rail and I've got wire trough around here somewhere. But the other thing I was going to look at doing, and I'll need to, I'm not bringing it into the slicer, but the LH Stinger had, if you remember right, in their case, we had some 3D printed wire trough, and it was designed so that you would put heat set inserts into the panel, and then you would screw that trough into the panel, whether it's the bottom or side, whatever. We may be able to use that to basically make our wire trough right here. We'll line it up directly with our pass-through so we can do a wire trough, maybe a little stub of a wire trough here, what have you. And that might make it easier to keep our wires clean inside. Now what I'm going to do is take this um, sleeve off. I would need to do a longer sleeve anyhow. So we'll go ahead and just take this off. And that gets me access to all of my wires so I can see what's going where. And that'll let me kind of figure things out and figure out what I need to extend, what I need to um, do what with. So this is stuff from the heater, stuff that love wires. Okay. So that's the hot end, the thermistor, and the big tree or the BL Touch. Um, for fans. This is our motor wire. Our motor wire is going to be plenty long, most likely. So we'll bring it down here. We're going to have to try and figure out what our lengths should be. So what I will do is bring this forward and all the way to the far side. Because this way, if I'm coming over here, this will let me understand how much of a, I'll say a bow that I need in my wiring. What I'm going to do is just put some tape on there for now to kind of hold this and make this my reference for the umbilical. Pretty good. As far as the length goes for that. That'll also let me bring it down here, kind of do around. This will be coming straight out. We'll come over. So this is going to be way longer than I actually need. And so we'll be able to cut and repin this. And we're going to need to decide how we're going to, I think it's A, B, X, X, X. No, A, B, Z, 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 B. Right? Yeah, A, B, Z, 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 and E. So we only need 6, and that's what's throwing me off is I think we've got 7 in here. Got 7. And what I want to do is basically set this up as a trident, right? Trident. That should work. Yeah, this had 7 because there would have been 4 Z motors before. So we'll basically set this up kind of like a trident in a octopus because we'll have 3 lead screws, an A, B, and the extruder. So that'll get us there. Uh, You're wired? Yeah, I'm a little wired right now. I haven't eaten much today in the way of solid food, but I've had a lot of coffees. Hey, Zany Maker Zach, how's it going? And I did see your, I was going to say email, not an email, your Discord DM, Zany Maker Zach, and I'll have to get back with you. Hey, Bexy Beans, how you doing? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Twitch baby, yep. Bexy Beans has been subscribed for 9 months in a row. Hey Pez Liz, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Trying to stay warm. Like I said, I'm complaining because the high was around 29 degrees today, but I also stayed inside all day. Why not a Biden or Baden? Really, free heathen? Um, Need to go get Taco Bell. Oh, that sounds good. It does sound good. Time for some meat protein. Yep, yep. You're drinking iced coffee. I'm a Canadian. Yeah, well, I just don't like iced coffee. I don't like cold coffee. If I'm drinking coffee, I want it to be hot. Oh, I thought you were talking about like good coffee. Timmy's isn't good coffee from what I understand. Okay, so like I said, what I'm trying to do is I'm using this wire, which is for our motor wire, and I'm trying to make sure that we've got a decent little bend here. We'll add either some nylon filament or we'll use a spring steel wire added in here to help give it its curve, at least to this point, and then we'll just run it straight down. Um, we'll have a zip tie point here as well, so that's why right now I'm just using some tape to kind of hold this and give me a good little loop. We're gonna bring this around. What I need to do is what I'm going to do is just bring up this LDO. I just really want the docs, 2.4, but that'll get me to the docs section. Back up here to Voron, we'll do Trident. Deck wiring. Da, da, da. Here's the inlet Wagos check 20 volt build plate, tool head cables, fans, blah. Is like I guess I'm just trying to figure out like what the overall wiring is, what I'm really looking for. Motor. And this is on a Leviathan as well. I guess I'm just going to scroll down through here. Like I said, I'm just trying to really see what they're, and I am going to do something like this for the bed. We will do something like this for the bed on this. Um, right rear, motor one, motor zero, and rear left, front left. Oh wait, there we go. So 0 is B, motor 1 is A, Z0, the front left would be motor 2, that tells me what we got. So we'll hold off on doing this one since that's going to be the E motor. We'll have the part cooling fan. Bring that up and around. Hopefully this will be long enough to get down in here. And I don't think it's going to be. Especially not since one of the cables has already popped out. So that. My hope is that the wires are long enough that we can plug it in, but I don't think this is going to be. We come in here and kind of match it length for length right here. Come down. Yeah, that's not going to make it around to any of the fan ports. So we're going to have to extend this wire some. And the easy way to do that is not to use this extension, and we're just going to straight up extend it. So we're going to have to extend that wire. Chances are that the next wire is going to need to be extended as well. So we're going to extend both of these wires. So 22 gauge wire, red and black. Spare power supplies out of the way. Actually 24 gauge would work fine for fan wires. Here's red. There's black, and I don't think I'm going to have enough black to get this all done the way I would want to get it done. I just ordered a bunch of 22 gauge, 24 gauge black wire. Well, I'll have to get some more. What I'm going to do is kind of look at the lengths that I have here, and I'll just make it a little bit longer. And what I'm going to do is, oh, wow, one's short and one's long. Now I've got to double check and see if this one was way long or way short. This is longer coming here. This one might actually be long enough. And like I said, I'm just kind of laying things in here at the moment. Yeah, this one would be long enough. So I basically need to look at this length here, and I'll use that to measure my wires. And I'm going to solder these connectors. I don't have any of these style connectors. And I guess I can just extend the other one out a little bit to make it this length. Because these two pieces will wind up being in different spots in the cable chain, but I kind of almost just want to make these long runs. This will probably need to be extended about that long. So if I'm going to make a solder joint on it, I might as well just solder it all the way up here is kind of what I'm saying. This is the one that's too short. This is the length that'll be fairly right for it. So we'll need to get our black and this may wind up being a little bit longer than we need, but that's fine. That over there, that right there, so I know where it's at. Just run them side by side to get the red the same length as the black. That'll give me one set of wires. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and make two sets of these. So I'll do another black one here. We're going to make two sets of these wires, and that will let us extend those two fans out. And then I'll probably use the other extensions. I'll just cut those down and extend the Y and Z end stops using that wire, because I'm not going to have enough 24 gauge black to do much of anything else here. Here's the two black. Do another red. Teslas, I got on your stream for a little bit last night, but yeah, I was just trying to watch the football game, and it was all I could do to stay awake long enough to watch the football game, which was the college championships between Notre Dame and Ohio State. And I sacked out right after that. It was just a long day. Meetings that could be emails. Gotta love those, don't you? Time for us to bond over bad meetings again. Oh, Bexy Beans, I apologize. I'm so sorry, dear. What am I going to do? So, one thing that we can do here is we can either solder and use heat shrink tubing, or we can just use our solder heat shrink connectors that we have over there. So I'm just going to do those because I'm lazy and it'll be easy. But I'm going to pop these connectors off. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will show you here momentarily. No power. I missed there. Um, Thanks for the follow. Was it Lost LLC? Thanks for the follow there. So yeah, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab my heat shrink connectors because these are easy enough to use, and I don't have my um, soldering iron up here. I'd have to go downstairs and get it. Gonna snip off the metal connectors that were there. We're gonna strip some wire, and dang it, I gotta go downstairs anyhow to get the wire strippers. All right, folks, I'm gonna put you on mute real fast while I run downstairs. You guys be good to each other while I'm gone. Painful on, yeah, back on painful work meetings, yeah. All right, I will be right back. Okay, we're back. So we're back. We're going to strip off some of this wire here. Some of that wire, we'll do one of our reds and one of our blacks. Prep wire can be lots of fun to strip the ends on sometimes. And we'll take one of these ends. Twist the end. Run it through our heat shrink butt connector. You'll notice I just ran it all the way through. What that'll let me do is take my two wires and kind of twist them together a little bit, hopefully. Make a little bit of an initial connection, or not. Guess I probably needed to strip even more if I wanted to do it that way. Heck with it. Big point here is to get the wires so that get the wires in there so that the wire itself is overlapping or pushed into each other, right where the uh, oh, what am I thinking? The solder bead would be. So there's a solder bead right here in the middle. That's where we want the wires to connect. And then the white strips on either end is the donation. It denotes the size of this connector, and will also um, shrink tightly around the wire so that it'll provide a nice strong bond. So we're just going to use our heat gun here to join these. That's going to be nice. And do that at home, kids. Get this lined up here again. And what I'm going to do is shrink it on one side first and then the other. Then once I get it shrunken, I can go back and concentrate right on the bead and melt that. And then I'll be left with a nice and solid connection. It will be pliable for just a little bit. So if you need to get some kind of curve to it, or if you need to straighten it out, do so while it's still a little pliable. Just be careful, it's going to be hot. Purple cigarettes and robot. I must have mixed something there. And Bexy, just, yeah, you tell everybody to be good, and the first thing you say is, let's do bad. Let's do bad. Um, Lost LLC, what we're doing is we're working on our Additiva EnderXY. So the Additiva EnderXY is set up to only have two Z screws. And what we found is because of where they're located, the bed tended to tilt front to back as it was going up and down. Well, the problem is that's how it's setting the bed level. And so you would have problems where it wouldn't keep a bed level, or it would go real low at one side and high at the back end or something. So what we did is we added a third lead screw back here, and this is a printed mod. You can get a triple lead screw mod from Additiva for another like 200 bucks. But I had all the parts sitting here on the bench to include an octopus board that we had taken from a previous build that we were working on. So what we're doing now is we're just extending some wires for the fans here so that we can so that we can get them properly routed, cleanly, and kind of just make the printer itself look a little bit better rather than the very, very bad wiring job I had initially as we were doing our testing. So what I'm doing here right now is using some solder joint connectors, which just makes it easier when you're soldering wires together. Bear with me with the noise again. And these are Wirefly heat shrink solder connectors. So the nice thing is you don't have to break out a soldering iron. You can just use your heat gun and it will give you a good solder joint, and it's already heat shrinked, so you don't need to worry about that part of it. Now, what we will do, however, is put a little bit of a twister braid on here. I'm not going to braid it up as much as some people would. Um, but I am going to put a gentle twist braid on here just so it makes it easier for keeping two wires together and makes it a little less cumbersome when you get two or three wire. Eventually, you'll get wires in there and they'll just intertwine on one another, and it's just a big pain in the butt. So, hey, Aaron F. Geared, how's it going? Like taking electric or auto electrical all over again. Yep. Oh, not a problem, Lost LLC. That's kind of what I do. That's what I'm known for is going through and doing these builds and talking my way through them. Um, some people say my builds are work of art. Others just say, "Yep." Um, I just look at it as I'm having fun doing what I like doing, and if I can help somebody out along the way and show them a new technique or a trick that I've learned that's helped me out, then that's even better. So for right now, I'm just going to put tape around the end of this, just like that, because we will need to cut this to final length once we get our wires routed. We'll also probably want to put some type of tag on here to say, hey, this is this wire. So I'm just going to kind of bring it around like I did before, match it up with the motor wire as it comes around, maybe even add it right there to that tape point. And then we're just going to bring it down and around with the other wire. And this is, I'll say, kind of iteration one of these electronic boxes that we're working in down here. I can go through and do a couple of things. I can add mount points for some troughs. I can just put some of the four-way like zip tie connectors from the Lineo box or from the old Lineo kits I have. And that will give me mount points that I can just secure things down with just to make the wiring a little bit nicer. This is telling me that this is a pretty good wire length because this is a fan, so it's going to go somewhere in this bank right here. So that'll give me the ability to plug this in wherever I need to. We'll figure out where the part cooling fan goes, boom. And the nice thing is this setup right here, or excuse me, that's the hot end fan. Let's do that. Put HF on here for hot end fan. Okay. And when we do this next one, we'll put PF for part fan, and that'll help us when we go to actually put the connectors on there. We'll see. I keep thinking that I'll do my little heat shrink. I've got some heat shrink label maker that I could use to label these, and I keep saying I'm going to do that, and then I don't for whatever reason. Called laziness. I mean, that's the reason. We're going to cut the crimps off here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to strip the ends of these some, and we'll do our connectors just like we did on the other ones. Hey zombie, how's it going? First batch of prints over here is done. I did one of the trays too, but I did it on the rat rig with a 0.6 nozzle, and I'm gonna look at it. I gotta look at it and mull it over and see if I like it or if I want to redo it over on a something with a 0.4 nozzle. Wires in here, and once again, make sure that you get them to where that solder is going to be. So that they're kind of joining each other right there at the solder. And then once that solder bead melts, just kind of hold it there and keep it straight until things cool down a little bit, and then go on to the next one. Be the black wire. The man, the legend, the dragon. My God, Bexy Beans, you're gonna make my ego like blow up. Um, with zombie, was that to me about take a look at it, sleep on it, look at it again the next day, and if you're still good with it, then okay, you're good. If not, reprint. Do what you think looks fine. Yeah, that's the other thing too is when I start doing prints for other people, I get even more anal on what they look like. If it's my prints, like if you look at my bug boo, the prints on my bug boo look like dog poop and they need to be redone. But I'm like, it's built and it just works. So why do I tear it apart and rebuild it? If I can take it off the shelf, put it on the table and just hit print and it prints, why do I need to mess with it? You there. Oh, sorry about the noise again. Backed up the code it shipped with in case you change anything. Yeah, that's always a good thing to do. Ash is always, always, always keep a backup of the code before you start changing things, especially something on like a Solval. And for those of you that might be here, that one thing's on our Streamiversary stream on Saturday. You should have been contacted by all the vendors. I think LDO said it's going to be a couple of weeks for him to get stuff shipped out. Once again, it's Chinese New Year, so please bear with him. Um, Fetus, I believe, said it'd be a couple of weeks as well. Once again, Chinese New Year. Um, I believe the stuff from Fabrico is going out tomorrow. Gift cards have probably already been sent out to people. Polymaker codes were distributed. Timor, if you got a chance to retry that form and just make sure there wasn't a leading or trailing space when you copied that code in, I'd appreciate it. Hey Britt, how you doing, nerd? Hope you're doing well. I'm slowly walking my way off stream as I'm trying to braid my cable a little bit. I have found when you have long cables like this, like if it's a factory cable, normally it's a two wire and they're joined together. But if you're doing other cables, yeah, you might want to just do a light braid on them or twist just to keep them together, especially if you're going to be putting them in an umbilical. And if you've ever worked on a Prusa Mark III or Mark IV tool head, you'll know why you do this. Because those cables turn into one big mess together. And then if you ever have to go in there and do work on it, it's painful. This is a part fan, so this is PF. And we'll worry about doing the whatchamacallit. We'll do the um, JST crimps on the ends of these in a little bit once we get there. Now I'm just taping these to the side of this to give me my wire links. We've got a nice little umbilical that we're building up there. I'm gonna just bring this down, bring it around the side here, and bada bing, bada boom. There's our two fans. There's our extruder motor. We'll cut that to length here once we get things all figured out. Basically, I want to get everything from the tool head cut to length coming down and kind of measured, so to speak. And then we'll worry about connecting them down at the end. Because if I need to extend these, I want to do that now rather than later. I want to say I brought this. And this is going to be perfect as it can, what it is. I'll go there. This is going to come up around. These I have a feeling are going to need to be extended. Yep, these are not going to make it. So these are going to have to be extended somewhat. And I'm going to trim these back to, I don't know, some type of length. I'll trim them back so that I'm trying to make sure that all of my joints are not happening at the same place in the cable loom. And on larger wires like this, you can actually stagger the uh, the um, so basically what I did was I cut these at different lengths so that the solder joints are going to be at different lengths, so it's not making one area bulkier than it has to be. Right. So we'll get some more wire, and in this case, that is a hot end wire. That's um what is that wire? Zombie hot end wire. Is that normally 20 gauge or 18 gauge? Might not make a difference. Might not make a difference because I don't know. I may have some spare hot end wire in here. That's why I'm saying it may not make a difference. Because if I can use hot end wire itself, then it won't make a difference. It would just be hot end wire to hot end wire. Go there. Work. This will work for the longer one. This will go for the shorter one. I'll need larger solder joint connectors for this. Once again, never get rid of your wires. Keep some of your wires. No, for the hot end. Yeah. Well, I figured 20 would be good. Um, We should be able to use the red ones here. Um, Now, the only thing I hate about this is that fiberglass um, covered cable. And 90% of the time, it does not, um, whatchamacallit, it doesn't cut cleanly. And trying to get anything over the top of it just is painful. That one worked somewhat well. See if I can get the other side. Longer one. Ah. Okay. That'll work. Now, because of the size of the um, insulation on these wires, I could probably go one size higher than recommended. Okay. And I might just do that on the next one because that was a little tight and snug on the fiberglass insulation itself. Once again, we're just trying to make um, our connections good and solid. Then I'll come back in and we'll do a wrap on it. We'll zip tie it right here and bring it on down and worry about trying to make some other type of English sometimes is not my strong suit. So we're going to try and get some really good connections going here. That worries me, like maybe that's not going to work too big. And then we'll get our ends done once we get these connections done and ready. But I'll say this is one of the fun parts is trying to figure out, do problem solving on the fly as far as we're going to wire this, which board are we going to use? Um, doing your first build, I would highly suggest, get a kit and run a kit, right? But after you've done that once, you know, reach out, explore, learn a little bit more. It will be fun, I promise you. It will be fun. Oh, that's good. Sleeve. Being able to sit here and problem solve on the fly is very, very useful, especially when, something happens to your printer and you've got to figure out, okay, what just happened. Um, it's always nice to have something that you can fall back on to say, huh, I've done it this way before, or I did it that way before. Maybe that'll work. Like right now, I'm going, I wonder if I have something that I can expand this tube out just a little bit, make it easier to get over this insulation so that I can get a good heat shrink on. You're not smart enough for that? Yes, you are. Everybody's smart enough. It's whether or not you've got the experience yet. And you're not going to have the experience if you keep telling yourself you're not smart enough to do it. My sister from another mister just had to repair her bamboo that got, let's just say it had a mudslide inside of it when her house collapsed in the hurricane. Um, she would have never have been able to take that on had she not slowly worked on doing some fixes here and there and gaining a little bit of self-confidence and trust in her abilities. So it just takes a little bit. All right, I'm going to fire this up, see if I can get this to shrink well enough. lot bigger solder joint than I'm seeing. Want to make sure it had plenty of heat in it. And like before, we'll cut those to length and stuff as we go through this. But oh, here's the other thing that goes through here, which is this is the BL Touch. And we will figure that out a little bit because I want to make sure that I get all of this going through. Okay, let me go grab some. Thinking if I got any out here. I need to get some of my split loom tubing. I need a longer length of it than what I had there. Get me a little bit further, provided it will get all the wires in there. This is the fun time. I mean, you can use the plastic spiral split loom, which goes on actually a lot easier than this. I just don't think it looks as good, and I don't have any of the black. I've only got the white, which is a larger size, which I would prefer not to use. Hey, Westery Wine, how's it going? Were your ears burning? Because I was talking about you. I was going to say something like Zombie was talking shit about you, but he wasn't. It was me. I was talking about you being able to work on your own printer when you had to fix your bamboo. Hey, bearded printer, how is it going? Hope you're doing well. So what I'm doing now is just trying to put some split sleeving on this just to make it look a little bit nicer. And whoops, we'll go through and start running this through the cable trough and getting everything wired up for the tool head at least. There are some 3D prints that you can put on here or that you can print out that'll basically make it, it's almost like say a cable funnel that will help you open this up and get your cables going through there. And I know Steve Builds tried it once and it worked pretty well for him. I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment and I tend to just work it through by hand. The one color and no complex prints. Well, hey, that's better than nothing. I mean, probably better than a OG Ender 3. Um, For once zombie is innocent. Yeah, once. Doesn't happen often, from what I hear. All right, so this is working pretty good so far. Should get us most of the way down and into our box to get us started, or at least to the rear electronics box. And once again, I may reprint that electronics box so I can um, do a fan coming, blowing out from the bottom. It's just trying to decide what I want to do. So if I do that iteration, I will swap this out off stream, of course, just because it'll be easier to do that than do it on stream. And I'll just show you guys the results. And if you wind up doing one of these to your own, like shenanigans or something, then I'll make sure you have access to the file. I'll probably post the file here once I get it to a state where I'm like, okay, that's good. Um, we'll get the files made available. Come on, darn it. It's right at the end that it seems to become painful. Bring that around. Get rid of that. We are going to need a pretty decent size. When I say size there, I'm talking about like a thicker um, zip tie, not one of the thinner ones that we normally get with our kits. Where are what do I do with my zip ties now? Here, that's where they are. Yeah, so a lot of our kits normally come with this size, and that's really not going to provide much support. I've been using this size, this thickness or width. That helps provide a little bit more support, provided it'll go in the channel. If you can get ones thicker than this, I would suggest using that because you really want to have as much support as you can on these wires. This wire bundle will get heavy with the amount of wires that's in it, but we're going to need to do the three around this leg. Around this plate. Oh, like I said, if you can get it to feed through there, use the thicker one. If you can't, use a thinner one. And I did not, I just realized, I didn't put any type of nylon filament or anything in here. So I'm just going to, we're just going to be using the actual cable itself as the umbilical support here, which is fine. You want to make sure that these are pretty tight. And once again, this is your strain relief for all of the cables that are down here. You want them snug, but not really, really taut. As far as the cable, this fan cable might be a little, there we go. You want a little bit of bend to it. You don't want them to be like super duper kinked over because you are going to have movement on this. Make sure you cut the cable tie and not a wire because that would be a sucky time to cut a wire. So we've got this here. Furthest right is going to be the farthest that this is going to go. So you want to make sure that you've got a nice loop here. And then you'll cinch this side up. And once again, this is going to go straight down, go into our electronics box. We'll feed our wires through the bottom here. Some of these are still way longer than they need to be, but that's fine. So we'll pull everything through. And clean up those wire links as one at the end. All right, there we go. Like I said, the plan is we're going to bring this kind of straight down and we'll bring it in to our box here. And we're going to just have a cutout. We'll have an enlarged cutout around the motor so that we can bring the motor wire, since it's connecting right here, we'll just bring it right down on this side and join it into this procession around the perimeter. We'll still need to figure out how to bring in or extend out our end stop wires over here. We'll extend these out. And probably what I'm going to do is, rather than route them down, currently they're routed down this front 2040. I'm going to continue to bring them down here and then bring them down the rear 2020 along with this motor, bring it down and around the back and down through here. And or we can bring them down and leave a gap right here for it as well. It's how many gaps do we want in the top panel for wires to go through? Because really this one right here, we could, we're going to have to figure out how we want to bring these in. And they're probably just going to go straight back around and down. I don't know. We've got to figure out some wire routing. And really it's because with the panel that we're going to be putting in place here, it's going to slide right underneath these motors. So I'm not going to be able to slide this down and then have a gap that I can bring a wire down through here very easily. So that's where I'm going to slide this down, and I'll bring this wire most likely straight back along this aluminum plate. And then I'll join the wires together in another little bundle here and over here, because we'll have this motor, coming down with this motor on this side. This motor and all of our end stops will come down here, join up, and go back inside. It's just trying to figure out how to not have a tremendous amount of wires if we don't need it. So that's a motor wire, thermistor, hot end wires, a couple of our fans. And then this is the BL Touch. The BL Touch, I'm gonna have to figure out how I want to do that because this will need to be extended out to go to the appropriate spot. So I need to figure out where to put that. If we're going to try and keep this on the vertical, bring it down. Do I try and do things like this, or do I just kind of let it loosely go around? I don't know. I don't know. All the things we think about. So we'll have to figure this one out. This is our uh, e-motor. E-motor would be, we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm assuming e-motor would be into 5. E-motor, yes, goes to motor 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just need this one to be able to come over around this area. Need it about right there. We'll go ahead and cut this off. And we'll just match the same um, connector wiring, same order. We'll peel these back away. We'll do some crimping. We'll get another JST on this, or some JSTs on this, and get that connected up. And this will be our E motor, which will go over here to the stepper 5. Yeah, loose is good in case you need to change things in the future. That is true, Free Heathen. And then you cut motor wires somewhat short so that, I mean, that's still plenty of room. Even if I pull this back some, there'll still be plenty of room to get in there. So it's just how we're going to wind up routing these. So let me move this excess wiring out of the way. I'm going to have to sit down and do some crimps. Always the fun time is doing JST crimps. This, don't need that anymore. Let me get a couple of things out of the way here. Too many things sitting up there that I need to clean off before we do our before we go and do our um, Vcore IDEX upgrade, because that is coming. That is coming. I am looking forward to that. Okay. We do this, we don't need to strip a lot off. We're just stripping maybe 1, 2 millimeters at most on these wires. Maybe 3 millimeters. Um, there an IDEX upgrade or a WEDEX upgrade? Are you talking about for this printer? There's no IDEX upgrade for this printer. I do not want to go through any more pain. Like this right here is going to be kind of like the end for this printer. It's either going to work or it's not, and it's going to get taken back apart into its constituent parts and be uh, redistributed to somebody. Like it's, and I know somebody out there is going to say, no, don't do that. Make it a Ender 3NG or whatever. And I'm like, yep, nope, no more Ender conversions. One down, 3 more to go. Don't trash bin. Oh, I wasn't going to trash bin. Like I said, I would take it apart and keep the constituent parts, but yeah, it wouldn't go to the trash bin. It would just be pulled out and turned into bench stock items for a future day. Um, so I've been trying to stay away from the controversies over the last few days. Like we've had the I was going to say the election, not the election, the inauguration. No, there's some controversies over all that. Then we had the TikTok thing, but I believe TikTok's back up, right? I believe TikTok came back up. I know Britt can tell us whether she's back up on TikTok or not. And then Mia's been sick. No. take care of Mia, make sure she's okay. When you're ready to dump the EnderXY, let you know you have an idea for the kit. Thinking about melting the aluminum down and repurposing the electronics. Okay. Now, normally I would be concerned and be checking my pairs and polarity. I'm not as concerned because this was in a Big Tree Tech board and it's going into another Big Tree Tech board. So I'm not as concerned. It should work right off the bat. Of course, it would have been better had it. Wheat. I should have put my wires on this way because this is the way it should be going. The exact opposite color pattern. Damn it. And did I just put the wrong size connectors on there? I did. Well, it's a good thing that that I get to redo the connectors. That way I can do them in the right direction so that they'll go in the right way. But it sucks that I'm going to have to recrimp those because I put the wrong size JST connector on. Ay, 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 ay. I'm an idiot. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm an idiot. Yes, I am. Those were not the right ones either. Huh. All right. That's fine. Grab this one. Okay. That was fun. Oh my God. Have you ever done that, zombie? When you're doing your wiring, have you ever put the wrong size JST connector on? Right, sis? I know there's been a lot of controversy with the bamboo stuff going on, and I've been trying not to get involved in that because I have some views on that as well. But there's enough views going around, enough speculation. My machine works. The day it doesn't, then I'll have an issue. Now, I understand why, I will say, I understand why some companies will standardize on a machine, right? Whether that's bamboo, reality, anycubic, Prusa, what have you. But just like with any other manufacturing or supply chain thing, that then puts you at the whim of that company. If they go out of business, if they sell and the service goes to crap, you've got little recourse. So, the best thing I will say is if it's a hobby, then it's a hobby. It's a business, then you need to look at it from a business decision point and at some point maybe not have all of your eggs in one basket, right? Um, because once again, that puts you at the whim of your supplier. In this case, it's the supplier of your machine or your hardware that you're using to generate your living. And if they decide to change their mind and get out of the business, wall garden, what have you, uh, you you don't have much recourse. Just as if they went under, you have no recourse. Yeah, it's a hobby, so you're okay. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm getting ready to go. I'm not getting ready to. I'm working on my business plan and everything to take this from being a hobby to something other than. And so those are considerations that I have to look at now as I do that. Like I've got a lot of Vorons behind me, um, and various other printers. Um, are those going to be my mainline workhorses, or am I going to get something else as a mainline workhorse? Because mainline workhorse, you've got support, you've got things like that. If it's a printer that you've built, you are the support. If something goes wrong, you are the one that's troubleshooting. You have nothing to fall back on. Might be good, might be bad. But I will say a lot of us that are in the IT realm, when we get done with work, the last thing we want to do is go and manage network for the house. One of the things that drives me insane sometimes is, always being the tech support, um, because it feels like you never have any downtime. I mean, I do it. I love doing it, but at the same time, like I said, it always feels like you never have any downtime. Okay, so this is our E motor. Since I didn't put a heat shrink wrap on it, I'm just going to put an E on here, both sides. And like I said, this is going to go in motor 5, which is the last motor down there, last slot, but there we go. It'll go in the last one where you have a stepper motor. So it's going to go right there. Have a little bit of room behind everything that we can kind of squirt this wire back here. Again, we're going to have a bunch of other motors that are come in here. So it's going to kind of tuck that out of the way for now. We'll have access to the rest of our motors. We're going to have our hot end fan. We have cooling fan. Using a toolhead board, so just um, really need like they have final wiring. Make that big. There we go. Now let's take this. Yeah, no, I can't read the labels. E20B. Have to look through. Part fan, yellow. So part fan, then a hot end fan. Part fan, then hot end fan. Good. Part fan, the hot end fan, they're going to come in here. These two, or this wire out of the way. This wire out of the way. Feel touch. So first one up will be the part fan, right? Part fan. Come down here and go right there. Great if I knew which side was high, positive, and which side was negative. So octopus. I cry and complain about coloring and image size and lettering. Okay, fan. Negative towards the bottom, so positive is on the left. And part fan. come in, we'll cut this about right here. And we just need a little bit, a couple millimeters. Yeah, so that's the big thing that I would say is, you know, don't limit yourself to printers that you're going to use, but also, like I said, I would probably look at commercial printers that would have some type of commercialized support behind them, or at least of, hey, this completely broke. Send it back and get a replacement or something. Understand and live by your warranties. I love when the insulation comes off one side but not all the way around. Adds a little bit of fun to the wire crimping. And hey, Philinix, how's it going? You're here too? Uh-oh, who's throwing out hexadecimal code there? Sitting out there coding messages in bytes. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to try and think that hard this late at night. Oh, I'm not even sure if I want to be wiring and crimping this late at night. All right, two pin, two pin. Positive towards the middle of the board. Negative to the outer edge. That'll go there for our part fan. Next to that one will be our other fan, our hot end cooling fan. some point I should take the parts off the printer for the box turtle and get a new set going. Hey, Petty, how's it going? 23 Blue Dude, how's it going? You started it. Beep, boop, 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 beep. Yeah, you started it, and Free Heathen didn't even miss a beat and went right into binaric. He swears he's not a robot, but he didn't even miss a beat. Ah, ah, ah. Oh, yeah. Just remember, Bexy, you did it to yourself. Hey, Shenanigans, how's it going? Thank you for the lurk, Petty. Yeah, how's it going, Shenanigans? We're in full dream mode right here, crimping up our EnderXY. So we extended some wires. Right now we're working on all the toolhead wiring. So we kind of have, come on. We extended all of our toolhead wires as needed. And I'm getting those crimped and plugged in to the octopus board in the appropriate locations. I am basically, I'll say, quasi wiring this up as if it was a trident. This is going to be the hot end thermistor, and the hot end thermistor go where? Hot end. X, Y, Z probe. Yep, yep, yep. Fan, hot end fan. Hot end. Way over here. We're looking forward here. Go ahead. This does not need to be repinned. We just need to put it in place. Bed, then tool. Bed first, then tool head. Okay, we'll just tuck that around. Going to be the BL Touch. This is going to be the hot end, which is going to go into HE0. We'll need to cut this off and put a, whatchamacallit on it. A barrel. One of those language, or one of those words. So, shenanigans. We have actually custom designed um, uh, electronics cases for this. I'm most likely going to make some changes to the rear. Um, because the I need to add a fan to it. So what I'm going to do is I think we have plenty of room here. I'm going to I know you're interested in this and how we've laid this out. That's why I'm going to run through this real fast. So in the front, we've got our octopus board. This is a Big Tree Tech Octopus. We need something like this because it provides 8 drivers. We need at least 6 for this setup. So we've got the B, the A, 3 for the Z, and then the extruder. We've got a Big Tree Tech CB1 on a Raspberry Pi 4 sled. And I decided to run it this way versus the other way, which surprisingly enough, how I laid this board out, these connectors are right up against the edge and it fits well. So that's good. We're going to run GPIO through this line right up here or through this cutout. The tunnel here is fully printed off of the front one. So it's fully protected around that cut extrusion. So we don't mess any of our wires up. And I'm going to cut a 3 mil thick sheet of ABS that's just going to come right down the inside edge along here. And it's just going to slide straight in and have a cutout in the back that will allow us to run our cables right down through the gap. We'll probably have a cutout on this side and on this side to bring our cables down. And like these cables will most likely just run straight down along the back side and then loop back up in one side or the other. But what I want to do is I've got enough room here. I'm going to put like a fan, like a 4010 fan here, blowing down. And then I will just have a couple of grill spots above both of these boards. And just put some nylon, like stocking cover underneath it so nothing can drop down on the boards. Not that there's any moving parts, but just to keep anything from dropping down on these boards in case I do a PLACF or something at one point, which would be conductive, and that way we can keep everything here safe. But yeah, we're just taking our time and just kind of working our way through it. Our bed wires right now, I just have them looped up here out of the way, but I'm going to put a connector along here, just like we do on like any of the LDO kits that'll have a couple of Wagos and a couple of JSTs for our wires for our thermistor and stuff to make that umbilical a little bit, because I'd have to extend this one way or the other. Maybe I'll just extend these wires and just leave it. I don't know. I don't know. Kind of like there's some convenience there because if you ever have to take the plate off, just being able to disconnect it right here, take the top plate off to work on things. Eh. Wago, you know what that is? There you go. See, you've learned a thing or two. We're at 18 or 20 gauge. It's 18 gauge, okay. This one I'm going to basically make just a little bit longer, and that way um, they can loop around side by side. You're here for the peanut gallery. Yeah, so far this doing this mod is okay. Like I said, you're going to have to update the board, which isn't that big of a deal. You're going to have to go to an MP8 or the setup like I'm doing. Now, an MP8, the nice thing with an MP8 would be that all of the, like you wouldn't have this. This would be over here as well. It'd probably be a little bit bigger though, so you'd have to make sure that it would sit in there. Um, there we go. I was like, what was that noise? It was a piece of tape on my shoe. I'm missing a. All right. Be right back. I think my screwdriver's downstairs that I need. Wow, I was just when I went downstairs to grab my screwdriver here so I could insert these, Mrs. Dragon was watching the local news, and apparently there's been a couple of accidents downtown already. That's not good. Now this will be the fun part, is trying to get these in, which I knew it would be. Hey, Dark Third Dimension, how's it going? Actually worked a lot better than I thought it would. There we go. There's that. This connection here is for the BL Touch. We're going to need to keep an eye, well, keep an eye on that. I think I've got, looking at this connector, there's another extension wire that I have that extends this out. Like I said, this is the wiring for this is the one that came in the Ender 5 kit. So that wire is going to be pretty darn long, if I remember right, for that final extension. Um, maybe, maybe not. Let me see. It's a little bit longer than I would like. The other thing we'll need to do is really look at this wiring. Because right here it goes from 3, 4, 5 to 5. We need to make sure we may have to swap this wiring out um, and run it to two different connectors. So sometimes on a BL Touch, you wire it as one if there's a BL Touch connector. Sometimes you'll run it as basically to a servo and an end stop, which may be two different areas. And in this case, I really don't want to cut this wire up. So I will have to like figure out a way of just tucking this in here, routing it all the way around the edge or something like that, just to keep it out of the way. So this will be one of the last ones that I will put in here. Um, we'll do this extension last. Um, because I know I'm going to have to get some end stops in here. We'll have to get some other stuff in here. Speaking of end stops, I've got two of them right here. And like I said, what I'm going to do is route them longwise down this channel. And also, before I forget, this one is Z, so we'll put a Z on this. That one's Z, this one's Y. So X is still mounted right here. And we're going to have to figure something out. This is either going to have to get mounted over here, in which case I will have to add it into my, um, I'll have to extend it. We'll add it into our cable chain coming down and around, which will be fun. Um, and we should still be able to use this depressor on this. Yeah, if I position this right, because right now it's hitting, the way this works, okay, is it's mounted on this standoff. See if I can get a good angle. It's mounted on this standoff, and the edge of our plate comes over and triggers the end stop. We take this end stop and we mount it to the side of or the back side of this plate. Basically, take this, flip it 180 degrees, and mount it to the back side of this plate. Then this can trigger against this. Just have to make sure that it's sticking out far enough, or I'll have to take this plate and redesign it to make it stick out a little bit more, and that'll get us there. That's the plan for this, is we're basically going to take this, put it on the other side. I will mark some holes and try and I won't go all the way. I'll just get a couple of holes started and then I will screw them in because those should be self tappers that are being used to hold those in. So that'll move this over here and it'll still trigger against this end stop mount. So yeah, from the weather, it's actually snowing in downtown Raleigh right now. I don't know if it's snowing out here because I'm not about to go outside if I don't have to. Um, so we're going to take our little sleevey thing are our trough covers. That's what I refer to them as, the trough covers. The extrusion cover sleeve thingamabobbers, and we're going to put those in place, bringing these wires under the under this top rail here. Or not, because I missed one of those completely. There we go. And all I'm trying to do is just route these down so they're out of the way. Make sure it's not going to get pinched as this comes by, which it will, so that's not going to work there. Probably be why we were coming down this one instead of the other one. Keep it out of the way of that. Fine. Be that way. So this is still going to have to route down here, and then we'll just route it down the we'll just have to route it down around the side somehow. I'm just trying to figure out how to make this all look nice. And it may also be that I actually just put a hole here and bring it up underneath in the hole and bring it around. Because in that case, it's basically going to come in like this. One wouldn't need to be extended. Maybe both wouldn't need to be extended if I do that. Where I just drill a hole right here in the bottom corner of this, loop them in, and take them through. Probably something I'll do off stream. Because I'll drill a hole and then I'll make a decision. Okay, I'll add that to the Rev 2. What do we got? We've got the hot end is done now. Actually the whole tool head's done. Put this away so I don't knock it over and spill them everywhere. We do not want to play, barrel pickup tonight if we don't have to. What else we need to think of? We need to think how we're going to route our other motor wires. This one's going to be pretty easy because it's just going to come straight from here and go down. This one will probably route right down through the rear channel and then bring, possibly around in the back channel up and in. This will have to bring right along the top panel, join it, come in this way. And then we'll have to be cutting cutting the wiring harnesses, because I'm pretty sure that the motor wires that I have are going to be pretty long. You see what I've got here motor wire wise. I will have to come up with another motor wire or crimp the ends of the excess that I cut off the one. I've got 3 more motor wires here. They're all the same size. And once again, because of the way that they are got these two. I have another one around somewhere. Because of the way these connect up and the way I'm going to have to run the top plate to cover everything up, I'm not going to be able to really unless I make this Swiss cheese, like I said, this will probably come straight back, join in here with the other, this one, pop over, come down and go through, right? So I'll have some wires coming down on each side of this so I can cut a big U shape for the wires. That one will work there. This one will obviously work here. This one comes down, goes around, pops in. Could be plenty long as well. Do I have one more over here? Where's the other one? Should have. Because we'll need one from here that comes down and comes in. And then this one I can crimp this side off stream because it's going to be the small ones. So that I don't have to cut another one up. And that'll go from here. Once again, go straight down with these other two around and in. That should be plenty long enough to do that. Yep. I am missing motor wire, which well, we had this one, I cut that one short. We should have had motor wires for all of these because these four existed. That one existed. This one was the same one that we had before. That one's got a motor. This one's got a motor. This one's got a motor wire. And I'm still missing a motor wire somewhere. So I am missing a motor wire. Anybody remember where we might have seen a missing motor wire? Um, Whoops, here we go. Nope, that's the issue. So this was the one of the Z's that I was using. It was probably the one, this one. I just used the standard Creality Z and would have come across from here right down under and onto a board. So that's the issue is I was using this, so I need to replace this with a different one. Okay, so that's an understandable one. Gotcha. We can do that. We can deal with that. So we'll have to find another wire and deal with that. Um, Fan server on your V0 or the fan saver on your V0 melted. My only ABS ASA printer, so gotcha. Two walls and about 10 to 20% infill. Gotcha. I would say, sorry, I'm going to flip back over here to the main view. I I would say in that case, Dark Third Dimensions, as soon as you get it, reprint one to the right spec. And that way, when that one melts, because it will melt, you can redo it. That's probably going to be the best way. I know a lot of people will do that, like especially on a Cyborg or anything like that. Like the V core came with printed parts, but I know it was ASA. So I'm fine with all the printed parts there, but like a Prusa, as soon as you go to think about putting Prusa in an enclosure and printing a lot of ABS and stuff with it, first thing you do is print all new parts for it. The Prusa PET G parts will fail over time in an enclosure. So you might as well just go ahead and print replacement parts from the beginning. Put that down there. This, this goes like that. Goes there. That goes there. All right. I think that's where I'm going to leave it for the day, though. I will keep working on this because it's going to be crimping, and I may do some crimping tomorrow night after work. I think I'm going to plan on going into the office unless the roads are crap tomorrow. Based on the storm and how things go, I may just stay home and continue to work from home rather than go into the office. The excuse I want to use at least. Um, I will use the weather all I can to stay from having to go into the office. The We're making progress. Like I said, I've got a couple of things I really need to think about. If I go and work on swapping this over and it's stable and I don't need to do like through bolts, if I need to do through bolts, I will with some lock nuts. One way or the other, I'll get this mounted over here, see if it's going to trigger well. If it does, sorry, I'll redo this particular end stop, mount it to this carriage, and make sure it's going to hit and trigger. If it's not triggering or I can't get it to come over without hitting the um, bearings here first before it triggers, then I'll have to get this part here, model it up, and make it a little bit longer um, to make it work. That said, sorry about the cough there. That said, that'll be something else we'll have to model up. I'll probably take while I'm working and modeling, and I'll get over here on this rear case and add a fan mount to the bottom for at least a 40-10. I don't want to do like a 60-20. That would be stupid crazy and way loud. I'll just do a 40-10 right here. And then, yeah, when I do the top plate, I'll plan on making some type of drill cuts, small slats or something, and then just back it with some nylon hose material, just hot glue it on or something. And I think that'll work. Well, it's cold and they don't know how to take care of the roads here because we don't get a lot of snow. That's why they're having issues downtown right now. They don't know how to prep the ground for snow. And so when they get snow, everybody loses their ever loving mind and doesn't know how to drive. Um, and yeah, I think that's going to make more sense that I pause here, possibly redo that or CAD some changes to the rear because I'm going to add a spot to put at least one fan in here and then maybe a hole in the bottom that we can bring the other end stop wires underneath up through the bottom and in because I really don't want to redo this front one. Though it would make sense if I brought it in here that it would be a little bit closer. I think we're going to have plenty enough room if we bring it in here to get to the end stops that are down here. And if not, it'll be extending one, not both, just a little bit. And then the E end stop, if we put it over here, it's going to come up and through the umbilical. So that'll be glorious fun. But that's where I'm gonna stop it for the night. I'm wearing down a bit. I'm still dealing with some type of cold or funk. For all I know, I've had COVID and it's just been long lived because I haven't gone to the doctor and dealt with it. I will be going to the doctor though soon. Mrs. Dragons made sure of that. Um, I got in trouble, so I'm going to the doctor. No, it's I so it's apparently it's been 3 years since my annual physical. So yeah, I kind of got scolded not just by Mrs. Dragon, but all the doctors for not going and doing my physical on time. It happens. Oh, I will. I'll take care of myself. I'll take care of myself. And thank you everybody for being here. Let me see who may be online right now. I'm not sure if Liz has started already or not. Let's see who we can raid into. Um, Good enough painting. Oh, Jano's up. Well, there you go. We haven't gone and seen Jano in a while. So that's an easy one. We're gonna go see Jano. Like I said, everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. I know we're kind of going a little slow on this. It's just how much I feel like doing at this particular point. I do want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody that was out here on Saturday. It was a blast. You guys, yeah, I was like, we get 15 more subs and I'll release another printer and I'll do another thing of salsa. And it was like, boom, there was 10. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, you guys, that's what it is. I say I'm going to do hot stuff. You guys didn't even care about the printer. It's not like, okay, release the printer. It was do the salsa. Okay. But it was good. It was good. Y'all are awesome. I appreciate all the support. Thank you for being here. We'll get back to this on Thursday. I'll try and have a couple of things done on Thursday or before Thursday. And you guys take it easy. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. Stay dry. And we'll see you guys in a couple of days. Bye now. And for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, please, please, please like and subscribe down at the bottom. Make sure you click that bell for notifications. Uh, there's 2 or 3 videos coming out each week from my live streams, and YouTube's going to offer up a suggestion over here. Please go check out some of the other stuff. Thank you very much.